A teen spy for the Union Army? True story. Part 1. The sound of cannon fire echoed through the forest, thunder rolling across the land like a god's warning, smoke curled in the air, drums beat in the distance. Somewhere out there, men were dying young, old, northern, southern, all pawns, in a game too large for most to understand. But deep in the chaos of the American Civil War, a lone teenager moved like a shadow between worlds. His name was John M. Smith. Just 16 years old, skinny as a fence post, with sharp eyes and a quicker mind. But to those who knew the truth, he wasn't just a boy. He was Sparrow, one of the Union Army's most valuable spies. He didn't start out that way. John had been just a regular boy from rural Pennsylvania. His father was a blacksmith. His mother taught at the local schoolhouse. Life was quiet, peaceful, until war came knocking. First it took their crops, then their peace. Finally, it took Elijah. Elijah was John's older brother. Brave, loyal. A farm boy turned soldier in a blue Union coat. He kissed their mother goodbye and promised to return. But he never did. A wooden box came instead. Closed, silent, stained with the blood of a lost cause. That was the moment John changed. He didn't cry, didn't scream, simply watched quietly as the soldiers buried his brother in the family plot. That night, under the dim glow of an oil lamp, he took Elijah's journal from the shelf and opened to the first page. His brother had written, "Freedom is worth the cost." John would spend the next 3 years testing that truth. It started small. He noticed things. Confederate riders passing nearby, strange men asking about Union supply roads. He listened, watched. And when he had something worth sharing, he walked 30 miles in the dark to the nearest Union camp and told them everything. At first they laughed. "Boy, go home," one soldier said. "This ain't a game." But the very next day, that camp was ambushed just like John had warned. The captain survived. Barely. And from that day forward, the Union started listening. His name was passed up the chain until it reached Major Alfred Lyon. A sharp-eyed officer who didn't care about age, only results. He summoned John to his tent, looked him over, and slid a leather-bound journal across the table. "You're fast. You're smart. You're invisible," Lyon said. "We need eyes behind enemy lines. You up for it, John?" Didn't hesitate. "Yes, sir." So began a different kind of war. He changed clothes, burned his name, became a farm boy, a baker's helper, a shoeshine kid whatever got him close to the enemy without raising suspicion. Sometimes he carried fake papers. Other times he carried nothing but memory and fear. But always he carried purpose. In early 1862, he met Caleb. Caleb was 18, tall, black, with shoulders like an ox and eyes that had seen too much. He had escaped slavery in Georgia and now worked as a guide for the Union. Together, he and John became a perfect team. Caleb knew the land, and John knew how to read people. They moved like ghosts across Confederate territory, sending back maps, schedules, troop counts, anything that could save lives. In the summer of 1862, they uncovered a plan that could have doomed thousands. Confederate General A.P. Hill was preparing a sneak attack through the Blue Ridge. John and Caleb overheard it in a saloon, where officers played cards and drank too much. They memorized everything. Getting out wasn't easy. They were almost caught when a soldier noticed John's accent didn't match the region. Caleb stepped in, slapped John on the back, and laughed. "This fool's from the hills, sir. Barely speaks right, but he works hard." The soldier laughed. "Let them go." That night, John scratched a note in code and tied it to the leg of a carrier pigeon. 3 days later, Union troops were waiting when A.P. Hill arrived. That success came with a cost. Caleb and John were marked. Confederate scouts began asking questions. Descriptions were shared. Towns closed in on strangers. One name kept showing up in whispers: Sparrow. In December 1862, the danger escalated. The two were sent to Ash Hollow, a Confederate-held town near Virginia, to gather intel on General Longstreet's movements. John posed as a tobacco farmhand. Caleb worked the fields by day, listened to soldiers by night. For a week, they blended in. Then one night, they hit gold. A group of officers gathered in the barn to review maps. John, hiding in the loft with Caleb, heard everything: troop routes, supply wagons, target dates. It was perfect. But then the barn door creaked. Thatcher, the farm owner's son, had spotted footprints. He came up with a lantern, eyes squinting. John froze. But Caleb acted fast, knocking over a pile of tools to draw attention away. They bolted through the back door as bullets flew. Caleb shoved John toward the woods. "Run, don't look back." They split up. John ran for 2 days straight, barefoot, bleeding, hunted by dogs and men. He drank from muddy streams, climbed trees to sleep, and crossed a frozen river chest deep. Finally, he reached Union lines. He delivered the message. Because of him, Longstreet's attack failed. Because of him, thousands lived. But Caleb didn't return. John searched every report, every captured list, every rumor. Finally, he heard a black man had been hanged outside Ash Hollow. No name, just a warning. John carved a C into the bark of a pine tree near the Union camp and swore he would never forget. The war moved on. In 1863, John was sent to Gettysburg not as a spy, but as a messenger to General Meade. He had learned so much about Confederate habits that Union command wanted his help to plan the biggest battle of the war. But the Confederacy wasn't blind. They had their own weapon. Grayson Wolfe, a former Pinkerton agent turned Confederate hunter. Cold, brilliant, and obsessed with killing Union spies. Especially one carried a hand-drawn sketch of a boy with a sharp jaw and cold eyes. Sparrow, if you liked the video. Comment part 2 and Don T. Forget to subscribe to the channel. Next part coming soon.